and welcome back to the Peach Buzz. I'm so glad you all joined us here today. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe below and share this video. If you like it, comment below. That helps us a lot. I had a video not very long back about So You Want to Be a Ventriloquist. Okay, So You Want to Be a Ventriloquist. That so far has been my #1 video, the one that has been watched the most. So one of the comments below was, well, Trish, why can't you do one on puppetry? Why can't you do one on stage puppetry? And there is a difference. And I said, you're absolutely right. I will have a stage puppetry video coming up, and this is that video. So I read your comments. Thank you so much. The difference between ventriloquism and stage puppetry is if it's ventriloquism, there's no stage. You're just out front and they see you. You're talking back and forth with your puppet. You don't have it way up here. So stage puppetry is entirely behind stage. I had a fantastic puppeteer years ago who was terrified to be out on stage, but he was fantastic if he was backstage with a puppet. So just one of my best puppeteers ever. So a few tips for stage puppetry. Yes, you can use this for training your team if you would like. I do some trainings on puppetry. This is what I would be telling you to do. Okay, so #1, when you're getting a puppet, #1, you want to choose a puppet. This is Brainy. I use him for different things when I travel. Now, the best place I found to get puppets is eBay, actually. You've got the old school, I used to go to traindepot.com, Puppet Productions. They have phenomenal puppets. They have been doing it a long time, and they are the gold standard. However, I get a lot of puppets at a fantastic price on eBay, believe it or not. I got several of my full body puppets on eBay. Okay, so you want to get good quality puppets. A lot of people ask me, should I make my own? Well, it depends on if you're good at it. I'm terrible at it. I should never, ever, ever make my own puppets, but perhaps you're better at it if you get a pattern. It's very difficult to do, I will tell you that. I have made some, and they are not easy and they are not cheap. A really good puppet could cost you between $75 and $225, and that's for a soft mouth. By the way, this would be considered a soft mouth because, see, it's not hardwood, it's soft. It's got a plastic mouth. The hardwood puppets are typically a lot more expensive and a little more difficult to operate. So we're going to concentrate today on the soft mouth puppets, but if you're interested in a hardwood puppet, those are amazing as well. Just know you're going to pay a little bit more. Okay, so a soft mouth puppet, let's say you've bought one, it has arrived. What do you need to do and not need to do? Very, very, very important. Do not stick your fingers on the outside of the puppet's mouth. Don't let other people do that, because this is felt on the inside here, and oftentimes there's a pink piece of felt inside there. If you touch it, your finger oils will turn that black over time and it will begin to rot. Ew, yucky. I know, that's so gross. Don't do that. That's not a good plan. Secondly, when you pick up your puppet, this is very important. Try to pick it up by the strongest part. The strongest part of a puppet is the back of the neck, kind of like a mom with a baby kitten. Again, that seems so weird, but this is a tool, not an actual child. So you pick this puppet up by the back of the neck. Do not pull your puppet up by the hands, by the feet, because typically those arms and those legs are only being held on by 3 stitches. Not even kidding. And you pull that loose, once you reattach it, it never seems to look quite right again. So don't let anybody rip up that puppet by the arm or the leg. I even saw somebody pulling the puppet up by the eye once, and of course it came off. They're glued on. You should be pulling the puppet up by the back of the neck because that is the strongest portion. Don't stick your hands on the outside of the mouth. Okay, once you get the puppet on, okay, you've got your puppet on, and you're going to make an entrance. So your entrance kind of goes, I counted out with my team, 1, 2, 3, and I'm locking out my elbow. And this, I kind of put my hips under me. My hips are under me, and I lock out that elbow. so that I get better support to keep the puppet up there for that whole amount of time. Okay, and what I'm looking for is to make sure that puppet is at belly button height. And you say, well, puppets don't have belly buttons. I know, I've checked. I know. Especially a brain isn't going to have the belly button. However, imagine if they had a belly button. Typically for me, that's right at elbow height. This is typically higher than most puppeteers start at. They will have the puppet here and it looks like they're strangling the puppet or choking them and they're hanging off the edge. It looks really sad. So you want to lock it out, keep it at that elbow height, belly button height, and not start to sink. Okay? Those are a couple of common puppetry mistakes, especially for beginning puppeteers, because your arm is tired, you're exhausted when you're in the middle of a puppet number or a puppet speaking part. So you see the puppet begin to slide. It's quicksand, and then they are hanging there by the neck, which is just really, really creepy. What needs to happen is you hold it, lock it out, and keep your hips under you, breathe through it. It helps you keep it up and not sag. You don't want the hanging puppet. Also, there's sometimes that the puppet should pop right up, but typically to maintain the illusion of a humanoid, I go 1, 2, 3. So we'll kind of have them walk up the steps. That's one mistake that I tell my team. The cannonball puppet, oh, it just flies up there. Or you also don't want your puppet up so high that they can see your shirt or your sweater, of course. Another mistake is when you're leaving the stage. It should be usually 1, 2, 3, and down. You're keeping it as lifelike as possible. It's all about illusion. However, I see too often you have the what do I call it? The assassination, where their arm is dying and they're hanging by the neck, and the minute that last note hits or the end of the skit, boom, they just drop because they're so tired. Puppetry is a physical activity. It takes a good strong arm. Some of my best puppeteers through the years have been into sports. They've got a strong arm to keep their puppet up, and that takes time. So you've got your puppet up there. 1, 2, 3. You've locked it out. You've got your hips under you. You've got it belly button height. Okay. When you begin to move the puppet's mouth, this is very important. Your jaw only moves on the lower half. Your upper jaw shouldn't be moving. Hi, how are you? Yeah, our lower jaw moves, the upper jaw does not. So you don't want your puppet to be saying, hi, how are you? That's the typical brand new puppeteer mistake. What we want is for the lower jaw to move. So, hi, how are you? I'm fine. It's hard to do this far down, but you're locked out. And another thing you want to do is point that nose towards your audience. That's a little further down than you think it will be. When you're locked out and belly button height, you're looking down toward your audience. You don't want to be singing to the ceiling, as I tell my team. They tend to la la la, singing to the ceiling, moving their upper jaw, and nobody can see what the puppet's doing. So you should be, when you're locked out, you're looking down at your audience and you're singing with your thumb. Does that hurt? Yes, at first, until you build up muscle with your thumb. And only practice will do that. Only practice. Now, when I was in Bible college, believe it or not, and we were practicing puppetry, we would practice like this with our thumb. Practice with our thumb. Okay? Now, my muscle on this side is pretty large from years of ventriloquism, but it will hurt at first. We put it under the desk and keep it going to make sure that the upper was not moving, that only the lower jaw was moving. Okay, so your lower jaw moves. Another big mistake that brand new puppeteers make is biting their words. That's where they're tired, so they're hanging with the mouth hanging open, and they bite into the words. So if they're doing a memory verse, they're going, for God so loved the world. So they're hanging with their mouth open and biting into it, which looks really awkward, and a lot of brand new puppeteers do that. So what I tell my puppeteers, if I see them, I'll say, mouth closed. mouth closed, so that they open into the word. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Okay, this is more difficult than it sounds as you start getting tired and worn out and you're toward the end of a really involved puppet song and you tempted for your poor worn out thumb to hang down. Close that mouth so that you're opening into the word, not biting your words. Biting your words doesn't look good. Okay, so in review, make sure your belly button height, you're not sinking in the middle, proper entrances and exits. Make sure you're lifting your puppet right, not sticking your fingers in the outside. You're not biting your words or flipping the top, as puppeteers call it. You're not flipping the top. You don't want to do that. Okay? Then you're going to want to keep that puppet moving. A lot of times when my puppeteers say, my arm is killing me, my arm is breaking off, they're holding it so still because they're thinking less motion will hurt less. Actually, it's the opposite, because as you move that puppet, you're forcing blood up into your arm, and that helps. Holding still is not a good idea. So I tell them to keep moving. So if it's an elephant, how does an elephant move? If it's a young boy, how does a young boy move? Okay, I tell them if it's a young boy, that puppet should not stop moving the entire time that it's up there. If it's an older person, I kind of, I still keep my puppet moving because holding still is a terrible idea. What if you need to switch arms? Let's say you are a newer puppeteer and it's killing you. Your arm is breaking off and you need to switch. Okay, so I'll have Brainy help me again. Actually, I have two of Brainy, so I'll use my other Brainy. I don't know why I have two. I don't know. I don't even remember buying the second one. Isn't that sad? Okay, so second Brainy, all right? Let's say I just cannot do it anymore. My arm is breaking off. What you don't want to do is, the assassination thing where the puppet just disappears below stage and then switches off and comes back up. That's really obvious. You also don't want to have it, I've seen where the puppet flops forward and is hanging off the edge of the stage until it gets transferred. Now this takes a little practice, but it's important to do a good transfer or to know how to do a good transfer in the middle. I've got some puppeteers that are absolutely dynamite at this. They're so good you don't even know they switched off. So you're in the middle, try to find a portion where you're not talking or not doing very much, and you're going to put your other arm up in there. For me, I'm right-handed, so my left hand goes up, and I just keep going like nothing ever happened, okay? So a good transfer is important, all right? Storing your puppet. This is also very important. I recommend plastic tubs that seal, that snap shut, because mice love to make nests out of puppets. Never ever let kids play with puppets. They are not toys. Like I said, some of my puppets were $200 and they can be destroyed like that and can be very difficult to get fixed. I had one teacher who thought it would be great fun to pull out a box of our ministry puppets and let the preschoolers play with them, and they had their faces all drawn on in permanent marker. So we had quite a few puppets that ended up in the dumpster, and that was $700 worth of church equipment gone. And she was just thinking, well, they're toys. They're like dolls. Isn't this so fun? They're not toys. They're ministry tools. So you make a good investment on your puppets. You make a really good investment, and then you take care of your investment. Puppets should last a long time. My puppet, Patty, I have traveled with her now. I'm going to really date myself, 25, 26 years. Yes, I've had to do wig changes on her. I've had to change one of her eyes. Both times, one of my own team grabbed her by the hair or by the eye and it popped right off. So we had to sew the hair back on or glue the eye back on and fix that. I've had to switch that. But a lot of my puppets I have had for a couple decades. If you take care of them, if you're careful with them, I do not recommend running them through the wash machine. I would try to take stains out with a cloth, just some Windex, probably Windex on a cloth. I would not put any harsh chemicals on there. It'll take the color right out. If you have to switch out the wig, I would try to find someone who's really good at that, which is not me. I am terrible at it. I had to have someone help me. And typically those things can cost you some money if you don't know someone. Okay, so a puppet is a great idea. And I would say the last part of this is character voices, and I'm saving this for part 2. We're going to be talking about puppet character voices, different character voices that you can practice. And they're not just for puppetry, they're also for characters, because you might be doing a costume character or maybe some clowning. But we're going to be talking about character voices in one of our upcoming episodes. So I hope I didn't throw too much at you. That is just beginner basics, puppetry 101 for stage puppetry. Yes, you can use this for trainings, rewind it, show it again, practice with it. But I just want to say bless your ministry, your puppet ministry. The Muppets are still big. People love puppetry, and puppetry will always grab attention. And it's one more tool you can use to tell people about Christ. So good luck and blessings on your puppetry ministry, and keep practicing. A dynamite puppetry ministry is worth it. Thank you so much. God bless, and I'll see you next week on the Peach Buzz.